Miss Sheryl Lee Ralph.
Hey, Miss
Sheryl.
Look at you.
We're always so excited.
To see you all today.
Yes, we're so excited to have you because when it comes to representation, Miss Sheryl Lee Ralph's role on Broadway and in Hollywood inspired little black girls who dream of being a star. And she's here to celebrate the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Miss Sheryl, Queen, we always hold space for you at this table, so we're just honored to have you back.
Thank you very much. And on this day, not just any holiday, but truly a day of service. You know, this is a relatively young holiday, national holiday, celebrating Martin Luther King Jr.'s life and the service of and dedication of his life to his country. And I believe that this is probably in these times right now, a day where whatever differences we have as people, whatever it is, let us at least consider putting them all aside to see what we can contribute to our country, to our communities, to our society for the better. This is the day to do that. This day, this holiday in January. What can we do to make things better for all of us?
Well, let's talk about the legacy and the service that went behind this day. You were a little girl during the 1968 March on Washington. What do you remember most about that time?
I remember being so fascinated that so many people were there fighting for the rights of people of color. At that time, they were colored people. They were Negroes. That people were coming together and that they were actually talking about making things better. I was a child up in the North, so I wasn't as familiar with the ways of the South. It was just someplace I visited every now and then for a summer for my father's people, but I was just so full of hope, a child's hope that things could be better, that racism could be over, that in listening to his words, that I would be judged by the content of my character and not the color of my skin and the awful names people took to call you sometimes.
Well, that leads us right into talking about another trailblazer that we obviously just recently lost, Sidney Poitier, such an important part of the civil rights movement, and obviously we talked about him ad nauseum on the show, but we want to hear from you, Mrs. Ralph. Talk to us about what he meant to you.
Mr. Poitier cast me in my very first film. I was 19 years old, fresh out of Rutgers University, and he cast me in A Piece of the Action, the last of a trilogy of movies that he did with Bill Cosby. And he taught me so much. He took time with me as a mentor to pour into me as a young artist, lessons that to this day I still carry with me. You know, because of Mr. Poitier, I don't spend a lot of time on set laughing and talking. I spend more time with my dialogue, with my script, because one of the things he said to me was, that's your responsibility. That script is your responsibility when we are making this movie. I've never forgotten that. Such a good man, such a kind spirit, and a true girl dad.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, Ms. Ralph, racism is still obviously very much of a problem in America, and so it's easy to get discouraged as we continue to push forward and honor Dr. King's dream. What do you tell people that are in that place of discouragement?
I think back to a time when that man, let's think about Mr. Poitier and his list of friends. I mean, they weren't just black friends. I mean, when he called on people to join him, to join Martin Luther King Jr., there were the likes of Aretha Franklin and Marlon Brando, Harry Belafonte and Burt Lancaster, Sammy Davis Jr. and Paul Newman, and his wife, Joan Baez. She was the one who opened the great speech, you know, with her rendition of We Shall Overcome. Bob Dylan, who at the time had done a song to had sung this song to Emmett Till. He brought all of these artists of every race, class, and stripe together to fight for the rights of all people. Black people, colored Negro people, the right to vote. The right to vote. It hasn't been that long that we've had the right to vote. And when it seems that due to racism and other such things and not being valued as a full human being, that we may be losing that right, I say don't give up the fight, because there have been so many drum majors for justice. Today is a new day, and it's always the right time to do something right.
Yes,
a lot
ma'am.
of people have been having bad thinking. Change it into some good thinking. Now's the time to do something right.
Well, Ms. Sheryl, on that note, first of all, it's always an honor to have you. You gave us our marching orders this time last year to not only honor those who came before us, who put us in these seats, but also to take that torch and move on. So we're continuing with those marching orders. Yes. Thank you so much. You always have a home here at DBL.
You are family.